Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. And unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp, and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league?
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got a Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Happy New Year. Welcome into 2026 and in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri alongside Scotty Wetzel, and we've got you covered here as we have just started the second half of the second playoff game scheduled today between Alabama and Indiana. And we had mentioned it was all Indiana in the first half. 17-0 is the score. Alabama did start the third quarter with the ball, and whatever they came up with for adjustments in the locker room, they didn't work. I'm not sure what they came up with, but I looked up, and all of a sudden it was 3rd and 17, and now they just punted the ball back to Indiana. So in-game adjustments, Kalen DeBoer, maybe want to go back and rethink them, because whatever you drew up did not work out in that first series, and now Indiana gets the ball looking to add to their lead. Here's where that defense of Bama has to come up with a play. They did against, don't forget, OU when they were down big in that game. They're going to need to come up with one here as well.
Yeah. There was no win one for the Gipper speech, I don't think, at halftime for Alabama. And if it was, it didn't take. That's for sure. 3 and out, 2 short passes, one that was knocked down. I mean, it was not like, listen, they came out throwing, right? And Simpson is playing. That's you take it for what it's worth. Is that good news or bad news? Who knows? Maybe a backup quarterback would just change things. I don't know. But 3 and out, Indiana's going to get the football down, and now they score a touchdown here. Now it's really ball game over.
Yes,
this could go down as one of the worst playoff losses in Alabama history. I mean, we're on that pace right now. So that's not what you wanted if you're an Alabama fan, obviously. And now the number is shot up to 20. And there's back to 20 and a half now. Yeah. 20
Let me ask you, did Kalen DeBoer sign an extension?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. All right. Well, I got news for you. If Alabama doesn't score a point in this game, he's going to wish he took the Michigan job.
I wish he did.
He's going to honestly wish he took the Michigan job because it's good luck back in Tuscaloosa if you come in and get embarrassed and you don't score a point.
Oh. And think about this, Joe. As we mentioned before, Cignetti was on the Alabama staff when they won the national championship. Well, one of the national championships. So there's no doubt right? No doubt that they called him up and just said, listen, if things don't work out here, maybe Alabama doesn't get a bid. Maybe they lose to Oklahoma. You can't help but think that they at least called up Kurt and said, are you interested in coming back here? So you throw that into the equation here, right? If this thing ends up being like 31-3, something really ugly, without an injury, really have an excuse. Yeah, it's kind of they just
ridiculous.
don't like him down there. Yeah.
No. And they're starting to run the ball now as well. Indiana is starting to play bully ball. They've already picked up a first down, 106 yards rushing on the ground. This is that they're just going to wear this defense of Alabama down up front. They're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. And then Mendoza will take a shot or two probably outside somewhere, right? He's beating them with their legs too as well. He's doing a really good job of beating them with the legs. They look lost. I mean, this is not good, Alabama, at all. Not good at all. And boy, wouldn't that be something, though? Get shut out, embarrassed in the playoff game against Indiana. Boy, that would be a long trip back to Tuscaloosa, wouldn't it, though, Scotty? That would be that's an entire off season. Oh, my goodness. Let's see where and now, how do you give him an extension now if you didn't give it to him already? How do you justify to the fan base extending him now? And he's not a bad coach, don't get me wrong, but the expectations are impossible for Kalen DeBoer right now. Impossible.
Yeah. Listen, there's got to be no more Nick Sabans in college football. There just isn't. It's just too hard.
Yeah, Signetti,
all these
that's
teams
it.
Now can buy. Yeah, they can all buy players, right? I mean, even Indiana, like next year, you're going to lose Mendoza, so who knows who they're going to bring in a quarterback. I'm sure it's going to be someone pretty good, but that doesn't mean you're automatically going to be at this level good, right? I mean, that's how it is now. All these players are all up for grabs. They all go into the portal, which starts today, and they all have basically, you pay me the most money, and whatever school ponies up the most money will get the players. So it's hard. To match the Nick Saban success at Alabama. It's almost impossible. And if they think they're going to get someone that's going to do that, God bless them. We'll see. Maybe Georgia would be the only team that you can really kind of count on year in, year out. Ohio State, maybe, I'm sure is going to be good. But, some of these secondary schools, it's going to be tough. It really is. They got over twice as many yards. Look at 225 yards to 96. I mean, this is like, and again, now they're starting to run the ball.
Dominate.
That's why I said that last drive, that was a precursor. They got it now all the way down to the Alabama 33-yard line. We're a couple of plays away from this thing being 24-0. That's why that 27.5, Joe, that was the best bet, I think. And you could probably no way they weren't going to get 11 more points second half Indiana.
I agree.
That was the play.
That made no sense. And you laid the 2.5 in the second half with him because who are we kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, who are we kidding here? In-game team totals right now as well. Update 30.5 for Indiana. You can now but you can now 6.5 for Alabama. So basically, they're telling you we don't think they're scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
They might not have enough opportunities the way they keep running the ball. I mean, they're just pounding the rock, eating clock up. Yeah. That's it. Game over.
Not fooling around. Yeah. 6.5. Wow. They have FanDuel has I haven't seen it this year. I think they added this. Team total yards. So you can bet on how many yards the team will get, right? So they just locked it up in Alabama, but Alabama's number was 222.5. They have 96 now. They're going to be down. You got to believe at least 20-0, right? The way things are going here, if not 24-0. They're going to be throwing on every play, bar, a couple of handoffs here or there. I mean, if you're an Alabama fan and you just want to be able to bet on Alabama somewhere along the line, over 225.5 it is right now. Are they going to get 130 yards this second half? Although we're down to 7.5 minutes already. Touchdown, Indiana.
10 plays, 79 yards, 5 minutes and 40 seconds, 22-yard touchdown pass on the money by Mendoza, by the way. His third touchdown of the game. And just like that, with 7:46 to go, the panning into the stands of the Alabama fans look like they have no idea what no idea what just happened. It's like anybody get the license plate of the truck that just ran me over and then backed up over me, because they look like they have no idea. Well, could you imagine having spent money to go to Pasadena of all places?
Yeah.
And this is
Right.
the showing that you got there. Wow. Got to give Indiana credit, but that's terrible.
I mean, when's the last time? It was 28-7 against Georgia in the SEC championship game, but this is 24. That's 21. You know, when's the last time they lost a game by 24 plus points? Right? You got to go way.
Exactly.
I would think you'd have to. Oklahoma beat them 2 years ago, 24-3. Yeah, 34-24 3 years ago. It's probably a good 10 years. It's before Nicky Quick, I'm sure. It's got to be before Nick Saban. So
Wow,
the fans aren't used to seeing this. Yeah, right?
No. And you know there are a couple of dudes in the stand going like, how much did we pay for these tickets? And like, what the? My goodness, that is not good.
Yeah.
25 and a half, Scott.
Or the person who says, I bet Alabama plus 7.5. You know, what was I? Was I an idiot? You know?
That's well, I mean, listen, if you'd have told me that the possibility of Bama getting shut out, nope. Yeah. Unbelievable. In-game live game day continues on the grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. And unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp, and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got a Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. All right, we've got a change for you, some breaking news. Joe Raineri alongside Scotty Wetzel. It looks like Ty Simpson not coming back in for Alabama in this game, down 24-0. And as sure as I'm sitting here, Scotty, that hit he took in the first half where he fumbled the ball, that was... I'm sure they said, all right, let's go out. Let's try to get it, to try the first series. And he went 3 and out. He threw a couple of passes into the ground. And now they're going to the backup. Mac, I believe, is this kid, Scotty?
They have 2 of them. So let me see. Both played about the same. Is it Austin Mack? Yeah, he's
Mac,
one of
that's
them.
the one. Yep.
All right, Austin
Yep.
Mack. Let's see, sophomore quarterback out of California, local kid there. On the day, or on the season, he threw what 15 passes, 16 passes, 13 of 16 for 125 yards. If that's it, a couple touchdowns. But it was
Okay.
mop up duty, obviously. Against Eastern Illinois, Wisconsin, he took a snap, and then Louisiana Monroe is really what he played mostly. So, but he hasn't played, right? So now you're throwing him into the
Yeah.
Rose Bowl with that. If you're holding on to that plus 410 ticket, well, who knows? Maybe the kid comes in. I don't see his numbers as far as rushing being too crazy, but again, in limited time, so I don't know if he's a scrambling quarterback. But maybe he just brings a little spark to this offense. You can't be any worse.
I agree.
Let's put it that way, right? I mean, Simpson was doing
Correct.
absolutely nothing. So at this point, you got a half a third quarter left. Go out there, kid, and see what you got.
Yeah.
24 and a half is the number,
best you can
though.
do.
I don't know if I'd be putting any money on Alabama, though. I'll tell you that. At 24 and a half.
No.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think Indiana's going to
No.
score, right? One more time, you would think.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
boy, not many times I would
Yes.
suggest laying 24 and a half, but I think I would in this game, Joe. I think we like
Right.
the over Indiana 27 and a half team total. That's looking pretty good.
Yep.
I think I would lay 24 and a half. I mean, because Indiana's going to score again, and I just don't know if Alabama will.
No,
So-
I don't know either. But it's it appears Mac is in number 10, Simpson is out. And I'm going to imagine that it's injury related here. I mean, again, he
Right.
took such a shot. Like I had said, that had broken rib written all over it. I'd be shocked if he can breathe. He can barely, and I believe Scotty got hit on his, was it the left side? So it's going to be very hard
left.
for him to follow through. It's just not good. But they showed him on the telecast, really emotional. You got to feel bad for him, man. But he's a freshman, is he not? Simpson here.
Yeah.
Trust me,
So-
man. You got a long way to go. Don't worry about it. You'll have more of these opportunities here. But he's going to finish the day 12 of 16, 67 yards. And it's not going to be good enough. Mendoza 12 of 14, a buck 23, and 3 touchdowns. Does that sound like a Heisman to you, or sounds like a Heisman player to me?
Yeah. Junior. He's actually a junior. But he's got a couple more years left of eligibility if he wants to
Right,
stay
he
in
still
college.
has a couple of this because I think he was a red shirt at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's got a few more years of eligibility.
Yeah, he's been around forever, but
Right.
with these new college rules, he's got at least 2
Yes.
more years left. He's only really played
Yep.
the 1 year this year, so all the others were
Right.
just couple plays, so you get redshirted. So
Yeah. And look at this
nowadays,
kid. He's already come in and gotten 2 first downs. This kid, Mac.
yeah. See, that's what I mean. Sometimes you know what, you never know. He just shakes things up. The defense kind of lets down a little bit. They get a little goofy. Then they start thinking about getting sacks versus staying in their lanes and everything.
Yep.
So maybe it provides a little spark for Alabama. Who knows?
Yep. I
You gotta
like
see it to
it.
believe
We
it,
told you.
but
Well, listen, as long as you don't get shut out. And let's face it,
Yeah.
if Simpson does go to the draft, or if that's, and I think they have him listed as possibly coming out. I don't know why he would.
I don't know why either.
Because, especially now that you're hurt, you're never going to get to the combine. Like, that's not going to, I would definitely, I would look to come back another year. But you have young kid there, could possibly be the future of Alabama. Now you're going to get a pretty good look at him. If you can put them on the board and avoid the shutout, that would be huge. But why not? I mean, but this defense, somebody else has got to make a play, right? We can't just blame the quarterbacks here. Somebody on this defense of Alabama has to make a play at some point. But points would go a long way, I think, in this one.
Yeah. Even someone on offense,
look at this.
throw one of those. What do you got?
Oh, they're inside the 20 now, it looks like, of Indiana. The kid just threw a bullet down the sideline there. And I think it was Williams, who's right around the 25 of Indiana. So they're in the red zone, just like that. How do you like that?
All right. We'll see how serious they are. If they score a touchdown, do they go for 2? Which theoretically they should. right? They're down 3
Correct.
scores if you get 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions versus, kicking the normal extra point. But long ways to go. And I guess the kid's 6'6", so he's tall. Looks like he's got a halfway
huge.
decent arm. Yeah, can
He's
scramble
got
a little
cannon,
bit.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he can run.
Right.
So why not?
Yeah.
Yep, why not?
I mean, they just got to stop running the ball, just handing the ball off. Let's put it that way.
I agree.
That's not happening.
I agree.
Not happening.
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer might be coaching for his job here, but boy, it would be something else if this kid could maybe get him within a couple of scores. But none of this is going to matter, even if he gets it into the end zone. If that defense of Alabama doesn't get a stop or make a play or make life difficult for Mendoza,
Right.
it's going to be all she wrote anyway. And we know Cignetti is not going to have an issue. If you can't stop us, we're just going to keep running it down your throat, and then we're going to let the Heisman Trophy winner throw another touchdown and make it 4 touchdowns. And my goodness, is he the number 1 pick? He wins a national championship. I don't know. Somebody's going to take him number 1.
Yeah. They get these kids in the combines, and it's like no holds barred. Yeah, everything you accomplish, it all gets thrown out the window. Then it's like, how fast can you run? How long can you throw the football? Arm strength and everything else. So it's a whole different ball game in the NFL.
And then the question is, are the Raiders the one who take them?
Yes.
Interesting. In-game live game day continues here on the grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, they are inside, second and goal, inside the 10-yard line. Can Alabama, with a young backup quarterback, this kid Mack, who just took an absolute shot. He's 3 of 3 for 51 yards. He's got a bunch of yards on the ground, too, it looks like, using his legs. Man, okay, let's run it back here. If you can get him in the end zone, everything is 4-down territory. They're not kicking a field goal. Am I right here, Scott?
Yeah, definitely not.
No.
There would be no reason to.
All right.
So it's got to be. Yeah.
4-down territory. Yep. Oh
So
boy, this kid is. This kid's a mess. Yeah, that's not good.
he's got a
Yeah.
strong arm. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
I must say.
he's got a very strong arm, and he just outran two of the defenders on Indiana that were trying to get him, and they couldn't catch him. So he's apparently got some wheels. And now they got I believe 6 red zone TDs allowed all year for this Indiana defense, which was the best in college football. 6. And if they ain't kicking a field goal, then you got 3rd and goal, or maybe they do kick the field goal just not to get shut out. What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. I mean, realistically, it wouldn't make sense, but you want to get some points on the board, and he thinks, okay, maybe just adding some points, having some success as they walk off the field is not the worst thing in the world. I personally wouldn't, but I could see it happening. I could see them do it, especially this kid, the rookie quarterback, in essence. So maybe.
My question is 4th and goal, so we're going to find out now, and they're bringing out the field goal.
The 10-yard line, it's for the 10 too.
Yeah,
you got to do it.
I'm wondering too. I don't know how that. Oh, that was uncatchable. That's why. How big is the playbook for this kid? That's the other thing, Scott.
Right.
Like what? That's the other thing is that. All right, are you? How far can you go? What does he know? What doesn't he know? It's a tough spot, but Connor Talty, 15 of 22 on the season. There ain't nothing guaranteed here either, by the way. I'll tell you that. But it does look like that's good. So they are no longer being shut out. Does this increase their team total, though, Scott? That's my question.
It has to. Yeah, it has to, right? It's got to be over a touchdown now, I would think. Alabama total yards. Alabama. I don't know why they just can't put this thing in order.
7.5, I'm seeing, Scotty.
Yeah, FanDuel's got 8.5. So I figured it would bump over the. Either way, you need a touchdown, even if it is 6.5.
Right.
I don't think they would ever go for another field goal again, right? That would be silly. I don't care if it's like 4th and 20. You got to go for it. So whether it's 7.5, 6.5, 8.5, bottom line is Alabama going to score a touchdoation? So the way that kid just moved the ball, I would say
agree.
yes. I would say yes.
I agree. I think the defense can the defense come up with a play, maybe get a short field or something along those lines. I mean, the Bama, none of this matters anyway if Alabama's defense can't get off the field, because we're bordering on how many yards of offense for Indiana in this game. It feels like they're getting whatever they want when they want it.
Yeah, 250. Passing yards, $123. Yeah, rushing yards, $135. Yeah, 258 to be exact.
So they're going to be well over 300. Yeah, they're going to get over 300 yards of offense alone. The Indiana Hoosiers here up 24-3. How many more points did they score? I think we said their total, Scott, was what, 30.5?
30.5. It was originally 27.5 at halftime.
27.5.
Then it bumped to 30.5. It's 30.5 right now. That's one touchdown. They got 24 points. Now that Alabama's shown they can move the ball a little bit, it kind of puts the spark back in Indiana. 24-0. Yep. Maybe they go super conservative, but 24-3. Okay, we've seen this team move the ball, so let's not take our foot off the pedal. I think they get one more touchdown. I think that's a pretty
what
good
we
play,
need, basically.
Yeah.
We're betting on whether or not Alabama or Indiana can score a touchdown with these team totals right now. If not, we're taking the over on both. And you know what? I'll take the over on both. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. In-game total, by the way, 40 now it looks like. 40 is the number, which is also interesting because
I'm seeing 37.5 on FanDuel. You got 40?
30. I got 40 juice to the under. So, yes.
FanDuel's 37.5. That's a big difference.
Yeah, that's huge difference here. We'll investigate. Let's see what we can find as in-game live game day continues on the grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. And unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league?
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also say healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. Yeah, he's got a Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live here on this New Year's Day. Happy New Year to all. Joe Raineri alongside Scotty Wetzel. Let's bring in our good friend Cab Farrar here. Would not be, I can't think of a better way to kick off 2026, Cab, with watching Alabama get beat down like they're a JV team by, of all things, Indiana, which is kind of crazy. But before we go into any of this, didn't get a chance to speak to you last week. I know you're a big A&M guy, but is it safe to say, Cab, that the U is the U back? Cab, what do you think, man? What are you thinking?
I mean, I think so. Is last year, if you watch this Miami team, it was all Cam Ward. It was him pulling rabbits out of hats. He had to do just absolutely heroic stuff to find ways to win games late in the football game. This year, it's a complete team. Talking about Reuben Bain and the rest of the defensive line. Fletcher. I mean, Fletcher's been good all year, but he is really showing who he is out of the backfield these last couple of games. I mean, what an absolute force he's been for them. I mean, he's put the team on his back twice. We saw it against Ohio State late in the game, the same we saw against A&M. He's like, hey, guys, if there's a football game and it's close late, give me the ball because I got you guys. And you could see him over on the sidelines talking to his teammates saying the same. So absolutely. I think you minimize the mistakes that Carson Beck is able to make. And he's a good enough, mobile quarterback to get you the first down on 3rd and 10 every once in a while to bail you out of maybe a tough situation. And yeah, Miami's got a shot at all of it. Obviously, we know that now. We've seen them beat Ohio State, but I think I knew that going into Ohio State. I was on Miami yesterday, so shout out to the Hurricanes.
Yep.
Looking forward to a Carson Beck versus Georgia matchup. If it ends up being that way, can he handle that kind of pressure?
Woo!
So are you just going to go ahead and say Carson Beck versus Georgia? Scott, are you throwing Ole Miss off the rails already?
He's setting you up, Cab. Don't take the bait, Cab. He's setting you up.
Hey, I tell you what, though, guys, it's going to be interesting to see. Can they set the tempo that Lane Kiffin was able to set? I don't think we really got an impression for what this offense is going to be against Tulane. I mean, how do we get that? How do we judge what we saw against Tulane? Tulane was, instantly had their back against the wall immediately in that football game. So we're going to see if they can keep that tempo. And another thing is Ole Miss couldn't get off the field to save their life against Georgia in that first football game.
Yeah, and that's the problem here. And listen, we're getting a lot of low scoring games. We're seeing defense look like it may very well win a national championship. I mean, listen, Ohio State won a national championship last year. The defense was absolutely ridiculous, but they had an offense too as well. We've seen nothing but, I mean, the shutout earlier with Oregon and Texas Tech, a Texas Tech team that, Kev, you and I, we talked here on the show all season long. They're blowing teams out by 3 touchdowns or more every game. They're averaging 40 or more points a game. And now they take on Oregon, and Oregon looks like, you know, the Ravens of 2000. Like, what is going on here? Is this game coming up tonight, Mississippi, Georgia, the one shootout that we can count on here in the playoffs?
You know, it's also the highest total. And I love how you directed that question towards me, because I did take this over. I did. This is the one over that I took. And I feel like it's getting a little bit of steam here. I don't have numbers to back that. I haven't checked. And I'll be honest, since I placed my bet, I haven't looked to see where the numbers are going.
53.5 right now.
Lower. Yeah,
okay,
it's a little lower.
Don't like to hear that. I don't like to hear that. But I tell you what, Georgia showed what they could do at the offensive line last time against Ole Miss. They lined up and shoved it down Ole Miss' throat. There was nothing that Ole Miss could do. They were on their heels the entire time, getting pushed up and down the field. And I don't see how you make an adjustment for that, right? The one team that I think might be able to make the defense adjustment is Georgia. I think we'll see an adjustment there with Kirby Smart's defense. But I still think, you know, we got some players on this Ole Miss. Without Kiffin, we're still going to get 17 to 24 out of Ole Miss. And if we can get that, I think Georgia wins the game. I think we hit the over, guys. So I bet the over.
Yeah. Curious, you don't like to hear that because you could have gotten a better number, or because you're a little fearful because people seemingly are betting the under?
Probably more because I could have got the better number, if I'm being honest. Yeah. You know, with college football, it's interesting because you see these lines move all week, but I always tell people, you know, who's moving the lines early? This isn't the public, right? It's the public at the very last minute, right? Like, you know, right now or maybe this morning. That's when the public's moving the lines. So I'm not as concerned about a late move as I am an early move.
Touchdown, Indiana. About 31-3. That did not take long at all. My goodness.
Did you guys
absolutely bonkers.
I heard y'all say y'all were going to grab the team total over for Indiana. Did y'all grab that right before?
We played them both. Yeah, we played them both. They're over 30.5 and over 8.5 here. So we just need Alabama maybe to get an empty netter here, and then we can cash both of those tickets. But all right, Indiana taking on Oregon part 2, Cab. We've already seen it. You know, it's interesting that we're getting these rematches here at this point. And listen, Indiana went to Eugene and handled business. Neutral site game here, indoors, advantage Oregon. I mean, who would you give the nod to?
Oh man, if I'm making this spread, it's 1.5. Whoever's favored, I'll tell you that right now. I think this is a 1.5. Yeah, I think this is a 1.5, regardless of who's favored. I'd probably open it up with Oregon at a 1.5 if I was the books, simply because I still expect the public to hit Oregon. But I would definitely be on Indiana. I probably will be on Indiana. It's going to be such a good football game, you know. And shout out to the SEC, because we see it again. How about these Big Ten teams stepping up, you know, and showing their strength here in these bowl games.
Shout out to ACC, baby.
And the SEC not doing well, really. I mean, they're almost guaranteed a team in the Final Four, you know, as long as Tulane didn't upset Ole Miss. But other than that, you know, the SEC is really not pounding their chest too much, Cab.
No, I mean, and we've seen too. It's you know, Vanderbilt. I know it's not a playoff game, but they had Diego Pavia on the field. They had their team on the field, right? Vanderbilt was a full football team, and they went out there and lost that football game. So I guess you can say shout out to Texas for being the one team that's kind of held it down. But the SEC has been definitely the conference that I'd want to go against if I was the Big Ten or the ACC right now. I don't know what I want to say about
and that's the funny part. That's the funny part, right? Is that the ACC, Miami, who it's either Georgia or Ole Miss, right? So if Miami makes it through to the national championship game, bye-bye, SEC. You're talking about ACC, Big Ten. And oh, by the way, if Miami makes it, you know where the national championship game is, Cab, right? It's
Say
here.
it again.
It's in Miami. It's at Hard Rock. So they'd be playing in front of their own. So and I guarantee you, they're going to be a big underdog here. Georgia. They might be a slight favorite against Ole Miss, but if it is Georgia, unless I'm missing something, Scotty, it's going to be Georgia's going to be the favorite there as well.
Yeah.
Georgia will. Yeah.
Right? I mean, but not more than a field goal, no?
Maybe 3.5 or 4.5.
Real? Ooh.
I'll say this too: if it is Georgia, if we fast forward to the championship game, if it's Indiana,
right.
You know where Mendoza's from, right? Miami.
Is he? He's from Miami. That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So no doubt when Miami was looking for a quarterback last offseason, they had to consider him, but they chose Beck instead. So that's a little something to talk about. So
no pressure here, Cab. Honestly, given what you've seen here, who wins the national championship?
Go Canes, guys. Go Canes. Come on. They took out my Aggies. They won a bet for me yesterday. I gotta root for them all the way. I'm riding Fletcher out of the backfield, and I'm riding Ruben Bain off that defensive line.
Wow.
I think if it's Oregon, if it's Georgia against Miami or India, I don't see a situation outside of Ole Miss where Miami's the favorite in any way, shape, or form. Like, we got to bet them now in the future market. Cam, Happy New Year, brother. Enjoy the games. We appreciate it as always. In-game live game day continues on the grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this hit maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the Sports Grid Network. I would say it's T-minus 10 seconds and counting, Scott, before the mass exodus out of Pasadena by Alabama fans who cannot believe what they are watching right now is Indiana 31, Alabama 3. Alabama has this kid, Austin Mack, a sophomore who, I don't know, what does he have, a dozen passes in his career in football games? And I tell you, he threw a beautiful spiral on his last throw. The problem is there was nobody there where he threw it. So, but it was a nice spiral, but okay. I'm shocked they didn't get it for grounding. But Alabama, this is a tough watch, man. If you are Bama, you got a sophomore backup quarterback in Simpson, who no doubt is going to have some sort of broken rib, some sort of rib issue moving forward. He was pulled from the game, but that's not going to stop Indiana, I think, from scoring one more time. Scott, what do you think?
So Alabama, they cut the lead to 21-3, right? Maybe a little mojo there, just a little something, right? And then Indiana just took the ball, Joe, just right down the field. What was it, 6 plays, 7 plays, whatever it was?
Crazy.
I mean, just no stopping them, no third downs even on the drive. I mean, you talk about a defense just that maybe wore it out, and that's what Alabama did. So 31-3, they just got the ball back again because 3 and out, as we were talking about with the kid throwing the ball to the cheerleaders on the sidelines. So they got at their own 37. 13 minutes left.
Wow.
They're up 31-3. Yeah, I think they're going to score again. We hit our team totals, whether you got it at 27.5 at halftime or 30.5.
Yep.
They probably put another touchdown on the board. They just got 38-3 to be written all over it. I mean, why,
I'm with you.
They're running the ball, and Alabama's not stopping them. So I'm looking for total points here. Indiana's 37.5. So one more touchdown. They probably get it.
One more touchdown. And they are absolutely, I think, going to get it. Yeah, I'm with you there. I think this one is going to get ugly. The first one today, also ugly. I'm going to be interested to see what the ratings were for these two games, Scotty. When I guarantee you the first halves were probably and then I think once the second half came and these in both the Oregon-Texas Tech game where we actually had a team shut out. I mean, they were the number 2-ranked, 3-ranked team. What were they? Weren't they the 3 seed in this or the 2 seed? Texas Tech
3, 2. They were 2. Right? Indiana was 1. They were 2. Yeah,
2.
Yeah.
Oh, they were 4. Is that what we're hearing? They were the 4th ranked. Yeah. So then.
Okay.
They were the 4. Okay. So they were the number 4
You're
seed.
right. My bad. Yes, they were 4.
Yeah.
So Indiana was 1. Georgia was 2. Ohio State was 2. That's right. Georgia 3.
Georgia was 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got the comfort of not having to play a game in forever. And quite honestly, that offense looked it. How do you get, on a neutral site game, how is it you come to the Orange Bowl and you get absolutely embarrassed there? Just not a good situation. But if you're Oregon, you're probably watching this, Scott, with Indiana, and revenge is beautiful, right? It's hard to beat a team twice in a season, especially one that beat you on your own home field where, I remember that game, there were spots where Oregon let it get away from them there a little bit. It's a different story. But now, how long do we have to wait between the next game, Scott? When is it?
Good question. I think it's the following Saturday, right? Let me check the schedule. It is college football playoff. Next one is
the 8th. Is it the 8th?
Yes. Next the following Thursday. Yeah. So all right. So that's not bad. 1 week. Yeah. You got one game is the Miami game is Thursday, and then the next one is Friday, and then the championship game is the following Monday. So two semifinals on the same day for some goofy reason.
So Miami's going to have a rest advantage.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow. Right?
You're right.
So having them haven't played on, so they'll have an extra day. They'll have a rest advantage, and my goodness, another completion by Mendoza. Right?
Yeah, that's I wonder why I'm surprised they would do that. Right? College kids in one extra day. They were hell bent on having this game yesterday. They wanted 1 yesterday, not 4 today.
Yes.
So
yes. Yeah. They love their New Year's Eve, bowl games of some sort here. It cracks me up. But
they got to figure that out better, Joe, next year. They I know they're going to go to 16, right? They just got to do it in sync somehow, some way. You don't need game. You want to get on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, but you don't need a game next Thursday or next Friday. Just play it on Saturday. Go up against, listen, it's the NFL. I get it. You don't want to go up against the NFL, but it is what it is. What are you going to do, right?
Now, the NFL next Saturday will be the wild card games, right? And there's still a lot to be, there's still a lot to be determined there, especially beginning on Saturday this week. When we'll have two games with a lot of juice, actually, but that have some meaning. So kudos to the NFL for giving us meaningful football on Saturday. And then, of course, that leads into Sunday where, we're starting to learn a little bit about which teams are willing to punt on week 18, which teams are still up and, have something to play for, as Indiana just runs it in again, about to be 38-3. And every point they score from here on out, Scotty, is going to be very difficult for Kalen DeBoer to get on that plane and get back to Tuscaloosa. Not a good situation.
Yeah, and they're doing, Joe, everything we said they would, right? At the beginning. Yep. We said this team's going to be a 4 touchdowns. They're going to be throwing the ball in the fourth quarter. And he was throwing the ball in the fourth quarter. Up 4
exactly.
touchdowns. He's still throwing the ball.
And I can tell you right now, this defense, Alabama, looks like they've thrown the towel in. I mean, they're not even trying here at this point. We'll let you know the latest on those NFL who's in, who's out this weekend. We'll talk about it as in-game live game day continues here on the Grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. And unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and you may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. Yeah, he's got Dunze, he's got you got DJ Moore, you got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Scotty Wetzel as we look to close out another hour together. And unfortunately for Alabama, their season is about to be closed out. And I got to imagine that, the mass exodus in the stands for Alabama folks is not good. Right now, 38-3. Is what it looks like here. We've got almost 400 yards of offense for Indiana, Scotty. almost 200 yards of that actually, I think the rushing yards 204. So they have just won the trenches. They've won everything. Mendoza, 14 of 16, $192 with 3 touchdowns. They might have 2 guys that rush for over 100 yards here on the game. Indiana, I mean, just a clinic, $151 total offense here for Alabama. I still think they get the empty netter, Scott. I still like our chances of getting over the team total at 8.5 here.
Yeah, that would be nice. We got the team total with Indiana a couple of times, actually. So let the kid throw the ball. You would think maybe at this point up 35 points, although there's still 10 minutes left, but still you would think, okay, Indiana would pull. They got to play next week, right? So it would make sense for him to pull some of his defensive guys, right? The last thing in the world you want is for one of your main guys to get hurt in a 38-3 fourth quarter game. Right. So, but, listen, when you win a game 38-3, a famous line from the head coach, Washington and Chicago, a championship game from 50 years ago, and they lost 70-3. Yep. And on one of the drives to start the game, they went for it. And ended up being a pick 6. And they asked the coach, you look back and think about what would have changed if you wouldn't have gone for it. And he said, yeah, instead of losing 70-3, we would have lost 63-3. So I say that.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yep. I remember that quote. So I say that, but knowing, when it was 3-0, Joe, and it's 4th and 1, your own 30-yard line, first quarter, instead of just punting the ball, Alabama goes for it. And from that point on, the avalanche started. It was a quick touchdown, 30-yard touchdown. It would take them 2-3 plays. All of a sudden, it's 10-0. You're back on your heels. You can't run the ball. And really, that was the last we saw of Alabama. That was it. So now, would that have mattered if they punted the ball? Probably not. If you lose the game 38-3 and everything worked out to be the same. But that's where you circle where did it all get lost for Alabama on that 4th down play. And it was a bad decision going from your own 30. Stupid. And then the play call was equally as dumb. So that's what you'll point to for this game.
And the next possession, that's when, Simpson unfortunately gets drilled in the back, fumbles the ball. Right. Then he gets hurt, and that was all she wrote. But Indiana, very complete game here. I give this kid credit, though, Max, 7 of 11, 70 yards right now. And he is slinging it, and they're letting him sling it. So kudos to him. But you would it almost feels like maybe this Indiana defense playing a little prevent type of situation here, giving him an opportunity to be able to get some, chunk plays, kind of bend but don't break. But he is a young quarterback, and don't think a pick 6 isn't somewhere in the realm of possibility here, Scotty. And then we could get a 45-3. And there almost was, right? Oh, my goodness. Yeah,
it almost was on first down. It was right in the guy's hands. I don't know how he didn't catch it. It was deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it was right into the linebacker's hands in the flat. He would have went down the sidelines, but he just didn't catch it.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yep. Oh, boy. Yeah, under duress. Yeah, not good. This is just awful on so many levels.
Yeah. What are
just
they going to say? Especially, what's worse, Joe, is if Georgia wins, too. Like, if you're an Alabama fan, who's your real rival, right? Georgia. So you get whacked on a day in which Georgia maybe wins. That would really be the double dipper of just, like, embarrassment for Alabama fans.
Oh, yes. So,
they'll be rooting, no doubt, for Ole Miss.
Not good. I mean, and listen, Bama's got... So I don't see this getting better for Bama, by the way, next year, unless they can figure out this offense and this offensive line. If they can't run the ball, Alabama is that's not good. They have to figure some things out here. They can't get beat in the line of scrimmage like they're doing here. And not necessarily a Kalen DeBoer problem, but they better. The NIL, you better start, collecting the change in the couch cushions, because you're going to have to be able to afford better offensive linemen than what you got here, because this is not going to work in Tuscaloosa, that's for sure. All right, we got another hour together. In-game live game day on the grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp, and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league?
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome in, off and running another hour together here in-game live game day on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Scott Wetzel. We want to wish you and yours a very happy new year here, January 1st. There are some college football teams that wish 2026 would have started off on a better note. Texas Tech, for instance, earlier today gets shut out at the Orange Bowl against Oregon. Oregon, of course, now moving on, getting ready to take on the winner of the game that is currently on right now, featuring Alabama, who too wishes 2026 got off on a better foot here, Scott. And I believe they just turned the ball over. Alabama did. So Indiana will have it up 38-3 with 5.5 minutes to go. What does this all mean? Well, it means it's setting up a rematch of a 30-20 game that we saw earlier this year, where Indiana went to Eugene and beat Oregon on their own home field. They're going to have a chance to do it again. I think that's a fascinating matchup coming up. That'll be next week with a trip to the national championship on the line. But boy, oh boy, I mean, Indiana, give them all the credit in the world, but this is not a very good Alabama team, Scott, ultimately.
Yeah, today, certainly. And don't forget, everyone talked about Ohio State's defense, right? How great it was, and rightfully so. But I tell you what, this Indiana defense is no slouch either. The 20 points they gave up, they really only gave up 13 because they had a pick 6. So you look at the points that they gave up this season: 14, 9, 0, 10, 15. They gave up 20 to Oregon, but again, in reality, 13. 13, 6, 10, 24 to Penn State was really that's the only team that scored more than 20 points. 7, 3, 10, and what are they going to give up? Maybe a garbage touchdown to get 10 today. This team is like, I don't know, what the over-under will be on that one, but there's no slouch with this team. They dominate this thing. This 38-3 is not a fluke or whatever. It was basically from start to finish. It really, backup quarterback or not, doesn't matter. Alabama was not winning this football game. They just weren't. So the days of Nicky Quick for Alabama are
gone. They're long gone here. Now there's going to be an entire offseason of a whole lot of questions with Kalen DeBoer, who everyone thought was going to be offered the Michigan job, and he turned it down. But he still doesn't have, I believe, an extension on hand for Alabama, unless I'm missing it. I don't believe anything has been finalized there. So, Alabama, they are about as unrealistic a fan base as humanly possible. So they're going to want to blame him. But, his starting quarterback has been out since the third quarter. He was hurt in the second quarter, tried to give it a go in the third quarter to come out, and he just couldn't do it. I'm sure it's going to be some sort of rib, abdomen issue there as he got drilled on a fumble there in his back, looked like a helmet right into the ribs. So it's not all Kalen DeBoer's fault here. Some of the play calling, you and I have been scratching our head. But the reality is, Indiana is doing all the right things. They got the Heisman winner. They got a great defense. And now they get to go and put a stamp on it, because if they beat Oregon a second time, then, they are going to be the favorite to win it all, and rightfully so. What are they right now to win it all, Scott? We said Miami was, 4-1?
Yeah, plus 170 is what it was when I looked a little while ago.
That's
it's down
crazy.
to plus 150. Plus 150.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what, you look, I know that's for Indiana. Indiana basketball is not even that low, let alone Indiana football.
What do they think? They're Scotty Scheffler? Like, what do they think they are here? This is absurd.
But you look at the best teams in the Big Ten, right? I'll say that they beat them all. This was not like last year. Their schedule was really soft, right? But this year they played Illinois, they won. They played Iowa, they won. They played Oregon on the road, they won. They played Penn State, they won. They played Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, they won. So they played all the best teams. Now, you may not like the Big Ten, but the bottom line is the Big Ten is doing a hell of a job this bowl season. But at least they played the ball too. It wasn't like, Purdue and Rutgers and Maryland and Minnesota, and pick a few more teams, and they just happened to kind of squeeze in like it was last year, admittedly. Not this year. They beat even UCLA. That's when they fired the head coach, and UCLA had won like 2 or 3 in a row. They beat them. I mean, they annihilated everyone. I don't know who's going to beat them. It's going to take a monumental effort. I don't know what the scenario is. I don't think they've trailed couple of times maybe this year. When I look at their scores, 73-0, 63-10. Iowa was a close game. The Penn State, it was a close game, but they made the plays in both those games. But maybe that's it, Joe. You got to jump on top of them by a couple of touchdowns and hope to hang on and put them in a position they haven't been in this year. But otherwise, it's going to take a great, great effort to beat them.
Yeah, it certainly is. And right now it looks like they're going to have 2-minute warning. We've got a fourth. They're in the fourth quarter. It's a 4th down, 2-minute warning. I would imagine they'll punt it back, but this game is all but over with Indiana up 38-3 in this one. And hopefully Alabama can get that empty netter for us. That would be fantastic. But ultimately, go ahead.
I was going to say, think about that. Now, they don't have these bets, but this is like another bet you could make, right? We're always looking for goofy bets. The 2 losing teams so far today have scored 3 points. Like, if you put a bet on how many points will the losing team score, which I know is stupid, but I actually kind of like that. I know it would be higher than 3 through the first 2 games, but that's what we're looking at with Texas Tech being shut out, with their averaging 43 points a game, and Alabama being held to 3, depending on what happens there on their last drive. So
crazy, absolutely crazy.
Never saw that.
We do. Never saw that. No, I did not. I think we got one more game to go. Obviously, coming up top of the hour, you'll have the quarterfinal matchup, the Sugar Bowl at the Superdome in New Orleans, and that is going to feature Ole Miss, number 6, taking on number 3 Georgia here. Ole Miss handled Tulane 41-10 in that first round for a second time. They were a 17.5-point home favorite. Georgia, the number 3 seed, last time we saw them was the SEC championship game, 28-7. They dominated against Alabama, neutral site game. That one was in Atlanta. We saw this game open up at 6.5 as Georgia is the favorite, and we saw 55.5 as a total. That stayed true, Scotty, right up until about an hour ago when the money started coming in on both the under. I'm seeing 52.5s popping up right now, down from 55.5. And I'm also seeing 5.5s popping up in the marketplace. So Ole Miss and the under is an interesting combination, is it not?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Like, I could see the line going up because Georgia's going to stop Ole Miss, and Ole Miss isn't going to have any success, and that's why the over/under would go down, right? But to have the Ole Miss under combination, that's a little weird. To remind folks, earlier this season it was 43-35. Maybe we don't get that kind of a shootout, but why would the over/under be going down? But then people think Mississippi's defense is going to come to play. That's kind of weird. I don't see that one. So,
and it's been all Georgia money, and I mean the public has been hammering Georgia. We got tickets and a higher percentage of money across the board on Georgia, and the line hadn't moved until earlier today. So it feels like the Joes all over Georgia, and the pros are like, not so fast. Somebody's freezing that line. Somebody's betting Ole Miss, and I don't think the public is.
I don't think the public is either. Yeah, the public doesn't bet Ole Miss.
Right?
It's kind of like the Alabama-Indiana game. Like what public person is betting Indiana laying? Nobody, right? The pros, yes, we said that at the beginning of the show. Pros are betting Indiana. The Joes, the amateurs, if you will, weekend guys. I don't like to call them amateurs. Weekend guys, are betting Alabama. And same thing here, I would think.
It's so funny. Two very public teams as well. We'll have more on it, though, as we get ready for that big one coming up as In-Game Live Game Day continues.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Eagles, at Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October, unless they get a really good veteran quarterback. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp, and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also say healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Scotty Wetzel, and it is official. Scotty, the bleeding is over. Wasn't a shutout,
Thank goodness.
but it was darn close. 38-3, Indiana is your Rose Bowl champion. Indiana, as the #1 seed in the college football playoffs, advances to take on Oregon next week there with a trip to the national championship game at stake. So that just leaves us, well, then who is Miami playing next week at the Fiesta Bowl? Will it be Georgia or will it be Ole Miss here? I still think the total's interesting here because I do think Ole Miss will have some success moving the ball. I do think Ole Miss will have some success scoring, but I also think Georgia will. It still feels like an over to me, Scotty. What about you?
Yeah, I wonder, Joe, if the gamblers are just saying, you know what, I give up. I've been betting overs for 2.5 weeks, and I'm getting my ass kicked. And now we have two more unders come in today, and I wonder if they're just saying that's it. Like I said, I give up. Give me the under. I don't care if it was 55-50, whatever it was, 43-35. Just give me the under, because unders are 23-16. First half unders now 21-8, the last 29 bowl games. Favorites are winning, but they're, it's 27-12 now straight up, 21-18 against the spread. But I just, after seeing all these unders kick in here, I wonder if it's just a gambler just saying, all right, just give me the under. I'm not going to fight it anymore. I think we're going to get some points though as well. It was a big number. I don't know if we're necessarily going to get that kind of a crazy number like we got the 43-35, but the concern to me would be Georgia's defense. That's it. As far as being really good, I think Georgia, maybe Georgia team total, I think it's 30.5. The last time I saw it, I think Georgia's going to get their points. I love the Chambliss kid, I do, but this might be a spot that it might be just too big for him. The Georgia defense has been playing really well. And I just wonder emotionally with a Ole Miss, with all the big hoopla, but with the Tulane and Lane Kiffin not being there and kind of in spite of him, we want to win. I wonder if that really was their Super Bowl. I know it's been a little while to come back down to earth, but it's not easy for a kid. And we mentioned before, Georgia doesn't lose these games. They just don't. They beat them earlier this year. They did lose last year to Ole Miss, 28-10. I'll grant them that, but 44-5 against SEC teams, with 3 of those losses coming against Alabama. They've only lost 2 times. Florida was 1, and then the Ole Miss lost last year in the last, 5 years, whatever that is, 40. So I got to go with Georgia. I'll take them laying the 6.5.
I got to tell you, I'm watching. They are interviewing the Heisman winner here, Mendoza. He is apparently somebody's getting a lot of media training because he is auditioning in a big way for whoever that number 1 draft pick in the audition. He's got he's good. He's saying all the right things. He's clean cut. He's got his hands behind his back. He's doing all the right things there for NFL teams when it comes draft day. And speaking of the NFL, you got to wonder, is it going to be the Raiders going out and looking for a quarterback? Is it going, the Giants at this point, something tells me the Giants are going to be playing to win that game against the Cowboys on Sunday, which makes it, okay, who's next then? So if it's the Raiders, the Jets, I think, already can't get the number 1 pick. New Orleans has 6 wins. They're out. So Tennessee, who's left here to be able to get it? Arizona, really?
Very quietly, yeah. They lost 8 or so in a row. They've been 3 wins, but believe it or not, Arizona has 3 wins. What's interesting about all this stuff is it's not head to head for tiebreakers. So the fact that the Raiders lost to the Giants, if the Raiders were to win, that wouldn't necessarily mean, okay, they get it over the Giants because we lost to the Giants. No, it all goes by strength of schedule. And strength of schedule right now, which is obviously subject to change because you got to play all these games this weekend. But the Raiders are sitting in the catbird seat. They only have 2 wins. They lose against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're going to get the number 1 overall pick. Let's just say they win. Now you got them with 3 wins. Giants have 3 wins. Arizona has 3 wins. Jets have 3 wins. Titans have 3 wins. So it's a crapshoot on who's going to have the worst, strength of schedule. Right now, and it goes by, it's kind of weird. It goes by the easiest. So if you have 3 wins and you have the easiest schedule, then that tells the NFL that you really suck. You have 3 wins because you have a really tough schedule. So you really want to have an easier schedule, right? So Giants are at 535. Arizona's at 570. Okay. Raiders are at 553. The Jets, believe it or not, at 541 is really kind of sitting in a catbird seat. Like they would win a tiebreaker over all those other teams because they have the easiest schedule that they're only amassed their 3 wins. So Jet fans got to be rooting for the Raiders, right? Because right now, if the Raiders win, the Jets would have the #1 pick. So
yeah, and let's face it. I mean, that would be maybe the smartest thing the Jets have done all year. Was to and I don't know what they were doing. They ended up winning a couple of games there in the middle. Like, what in the world were you thinking there?
Well,
they are in Buffalo this week.
Yeah, they tried to correct that by starting Brady Cook. You know, they're not winning any football games with Brady Cook. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So
and who gave $40 million to Justin Fields? By the way, I'd like to know who made that corporate decision. But don't do anything stupid like go to Buffalo and win a game. Right. But you know, Brady Cook's already been announced as the starter. Questionable is what we're getting for Josh Allen. I haven't seen anything else on anybody there for Buffalo. We know it snowed a lot. So it's going to be cold. I still think Buffalo, who can get the 5, 6, or 7 seed for the wild card, I still think we'll probably see some of those starters for at least the first half in that game. I can't promise you what we're going to get in the second half, but I don't think it's going to matter one way or the other. We do have some updates on who's in and who's out already in Week 18 in the NFL. We'll run down that list for you as we get ready for game number 3 of the playoffs coming up with Georgia and Ole Miss. In-game live game day continues on the grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October, unless they get a really good veteran quarterback. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze, he's got you got DJ Moore, you got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Scotty Wetzel, and we're laughing. I mean, Cignetti he is a few fries short of a Happy Meal, dude. He is a fun guy because he walks to like the beat of his own drum. He's a very intense guy. He's a Nick Saban disciple, so that tells you everything you need to know there. But they asked him, I guess, on one of the interview questions after the game was, how special is this victory for you? And Signetti turns around and says, why should this be special? Because our name's Indiana? I almost fell off the chair. I mean, that is just vintage Signetti. Like, why is this so special? Why? Because we won a game and our name is Indiana? And he's right, though, right? It's like, if Alabama had beaten Indiana, would anybody be asking DeBoer, how special is this win?
That's true. That's true.
No.
But you know what?
Nobody.
If I'm Chris Fowler, who's doing the interviewing, I would come back and say, yeah, coach. I mean, Indiana football has been awful for 50 years. I mean, you can't change history. You know, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. But, we were talking in the break there, Joe. Maybe this is why he, turned down overtures from, no doubt, from Alabama and certainly from Michigan and some of these other big-time Penn State, went after him. He's a Pennsylvania guy. Because if he goes to any one of those big-time schools, he loses that chip. He could sell it's Indiana versus the world and the lack of respect, for another couple of years, probably, 1 or 2 more years. But you go to a Penn State, Michigan, Alabama, whatever, you can't sell that anymore to your, to the kids. And that's college sports is all about rallying cries. And, it's not like the NFL where it's just that, whatever, you got to sell your mantra, sell something to the kids to buy in. And he's got that in Indiana, like I said, for probably a couple more years, but he wouldn't have that at those other 3 schools I mentioned. So back to Buffalo here for a quick. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yes, go. I'm just laughing. I mean, he is just the guys they're interviewing on the stage. These big old offensive linemen for Indiana. My goodness, who interviews the offensive lineman? All he did was send up all the big boys up on the stage. It's priceless, absolutely priceless.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is just awesome, and he has done a great job. Like I said, that's more than just a couple of transfers, and that's more than just NIL money getting a quarterback. I mean, like I said, that's been a 3 or 4 win dormant program for 50 years. So
unreal.
Back to the Bills here, and I've always said this, Joe. Your fans care more about standings than the players do. All they want to know is, are we in? You made the playoffs? Okay, great. Because there's a big difference. If you can get to the number 5 and face Pittsburgh in the first round, I would much, much rather do that than face Denver on the road or New England on the road or that Houston defense on the road. There really is, just like in the NFC, having to face Tampa Bay or Carolina. There's an incentive to be number 5. So I don't know why Buffalo wouldn't take the Jet game seriously if I can maybe get into that slot versus having to face, like I said, New England or Denver or whatever. But they won't. You're right. If I'm a little biased here. I got a Josh Allen over prop. I need about 80 yards passing from him. But honestly, throw that out the window. Still, that's a huge advantage. And who knows what happens in a postseason? Maybe you at number 5, things fall the right way. You get to have a home game. But you watch. He'll play maybe a quarter, if that. I don't get it.
And listen, he is dealing with the injury, and I get it. But I do think that they'll be fine, even if, whoever it is they're going to bring in the backup. And I think, who is it? The backup for the Buffalo Bills, the quarterback. It's the Chicago Bears guy. What was his name? Trubisky. There you go. Yeah. More than and he's been there for a while. More than capable to light up the New York Jets. Yeah. But we do have some guys that we know, in fact, are throwing the towel in this weekend. Green Bay has pretty much decided that they are done trying to play football until the postseason. They have gone ahead and named Clayton Tune their quarterback. So we know Jordan Love won't play. We know Malik Willis won't play. So depending on how healthy either of those 2 guys are, we won't see them until the postseason anyway. So it looks like they are punting here, that being the Green Bay, who has to take on what? Detroit, Scott?
Yeah. Minnesota.
Minnesota, rather. Yeah, who apparently is still playing for some. They're still playing like these games mean something. So that should be an interesting line, too, moving forward there. We'll look at it all, though, for you as in-game live game day continues, and an update on Lamar Jackson.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and you may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this hit maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league?
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also say healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze, he's got you got DJ Moore, you got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here, not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Scotty Wetzel as we've got one more college football playoff game coming up top of the hour as Georgia will be taking on to Ole Miss for the right to play the University of Miami, the U, next week in the Fiesta Bowl, of course, with a chance to play for a national championship. That game coming up top of the hour, but let's not forget, still a lot to be decided in week 18 of the NFL season, and we're learning more and more each day about who's in, who's playing, who's not, who's punting on the season, who can't wait to get on a cruise in another week or so. Let's bring in our good friend Tom Vecchio here, who is without a doubt sorting through all of the shenanigans with the NFL on who's playing and who's not. But we'll start with one of the more important games that actually has some big meaning, and that's Pittsburgh and Baltimore. And Lamar has now come out and said, not only am I playing, I'm 100%, Tom. He is ready to go. So, tell me how much you believe that and whether or not Baltimore should be laying 3.5 on the road.
I don't believe it. Just flatly, I just don't believe that he's 100%. I believe that he's going to start. Whether or not he's going to be effective is yet to be seen. I don't think they should be laying 3.5 in a row. Like we have said time and time again, and really just what is the general consensus on the Ravens been? It's like, oh, this week they'll turn it around. This week they'll turn it. Oh, next week they'll turn it around. Next week they haven't done it to this point, or they wouldn't be in a must-win game. Or you're eliminated. So I don't think they should be laying 3.5. I believe he plays. I think he's at 75%.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. They had that number earlier in the week too, when it was really questionable. Let's go into the assumption that he's if not 100%, Tom, we'll just say 80%. He's going to be out there. He's going to be playing. All right. So any props? You think this is there's so many trends that say you take the underdog in this Pittsburgh-Baltimore series. Pittsburgh was able to win in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago. Are we talking Pittsburgh outright win, or just you wouldn't lay 3.5 with Baltimore?
I wouldn't lay 3.5 with Baltimore. And frankly, I'm just double checking what Henry's attempt prop was. It's 18.5. And, Joe, last Saturday when I was live with you, we were talking leading into that Saturday night game. And, you and I were both on the under, or I think you were on the under. I know I was. Didn't come through. But I also said my favorite bet of the entire game was Derrick Henry over 16.5 rush attempts. And he went over 30 in that game. And, my point being, Scott, is that I think this game is going to be played largely as that Saturday game against Green Bay was, where it's a Derrick Henry-led game, and therefore we're going to see a lot of rushing attempts from him, which means we also should be seeing the under, to round things together. Right. So we should be seeing the under. We should be seeing Henry control the ball. And I think that also plays into my thought process of Lamar Jackson isn't fully healthy, so therefore just giving Derrick Henry the ball is probably the best way to go about things.
So we've got a couple of other real interesting games. Obviously, Carolina and Tampa. Yes. 2.5, 3 Tampa coming in, but thanks to the Rams losing on Monday night, now even if Tampa wins, they need help. They need New Orleans to beat Atlanta, and we just learned that Olave has been ruled out with a blood clot. So another weapon that Tyler won't have access to. But does any of that matter? Because is Carolina winning this game outright?
That's a great question. And, frankly, Tyler Shuck has been pretty good for the Saints. Like, he has been solid. They're winning games. They're covering games. They're winning games as underdogs. They're winning them outright. So Olave not being there is an issue. They're kind of devoid of talent outside of him. Kamara didn't practice today. Juwan Johnson is certainly a fine option. If Devon Vele goes, he's a fine option. But I don't know if the Saints are going to win that outright. When it comes to the Panthers and the Bucs, kind of the same situation. The Bucs is like, they're going to get right this week. They're going to get right this week. And we've yet to see them put things together. And they started off the season fantastic, and they're winning all these close one-score games, late comebacks, all these things. And then the coin is flipped, and they are constantly on the wrong side of things on the second half of the season, and they look terrible. Do I believe that they have more talent compared to the Panthers? Yes. Does that mean all the talent's going to show up? No, because I've been betting on the Bucs in some of these recent weeks, and they haven't been showing up. So, frankly, I don't know what to expect in this game, but I want the under. That's what I'm really expecting. The under comes through, and teams play things super close to the vest. A lot of running game from the 5 running backs combined across the two teams, and not a lot of scoring.
Over-under's 43.5 in that game. How about the second game then, Seattle? First place, number 1 seed on the line, Seattle and San Fran. San Fran actually a home underdog, getting 1.5 points.
Yeah, really interesting spot. And this game also ties into what the Rams are going to be doing because, depending on what the motivation for the Rams is tied to the outcome of that game. But, for the 49ers, I kind of like where they are. I like them being at home. I like the fact that they haven't traveled in a few weeks. I like the fact that they're getting points. I like the fact that I know they have a great offense. Their defense, really suspect. Really suspect. They're going to give up a ton of points. But I know at the end of the day, I can trust Purdy in that offense to go put up 28 or 31 points. I'm not sure I can say the same thing about Seattle. Now, Seattle should be able to do that in this matchup against the 49ers defense. If Caleb Williams and that offense can do it, Sam Darnold and JSN and their 2 running backs should be able to get it. So I'm actually leaning towards a little over in that game, despite the situation of how important it is for both teams and the number 1 seed in the NFC. I'm actually expecting some points in that game.
So some of the games in which we've learned that, Clayton Tune is going to be your starting quarterback for Green Bay, Tom. And yet I'm looking at this line, and it's still right around 7.5. And we know that Minnesota at home, certainly from a defensive standpoint, is going to bring it. But it doesn't feel like Green Bay has any interest in doing anything except not getting anybody else hurt in this game. It feels like that number should be a little bit bigger, no, in Minnesota?
It should. If you were to rank things on a scale, the Packers are at the bottom of the scale in terms of potential motivation heading into Week 18. They have nothing to play for, right? And to your point, it's not even Malik Willis, who frankly looked pretty good in the games that he played for the Packers. They're starting Clayton Tune. So, and Josh Jacobs, how many injuries has he dealt with this season where he's been constantly questionable week in and week out? Don't expect him to be out there. Christian Watson's been a little bit banged up throughout the season. He started the season late due to injury. I don't expect him to be out there. They've dealt with injuries. They lost Tucker Kraft. The list goes on and on. So I don't expect them to have any competency on offense just because they're not going to have enough talent out there. And Minnesota, they want to put up a good performance to end the season. They want to get Justin Jefferson the ball. I expect them to win that game by 9-10 points. So, frankly, like you said, the line should be higher.
I need a play-in partner for my 3-team 10-point tees that I'm going to double the mortgage payment on, right? I'm going to take the Texans. You know, they're not losing to the Indianapolis Colts and Riley Leonard. I'm going to take the Jaguars. They're not losing to Tennessee. Give me a third. Like, I don't trust Denver, you know, against the Chargers. I could drop that down to 2.5. Patriots maybe against the Dolphins. Do they have enough incentive to want to take that game seriously? What's the third team, you think?
Well, if you're not, I would trust the Dolphins. If you're asking me objectively, I would trust, excuse me, not the Dolphins, excuse me, Denver. I would trust Denver
Right.
because Denver, if you look there, Denver, if they win, they lock themselves into the top seed in the AFC. So, you know, there's only the one bye. We know that. So if they win, they get that. If they lose and the Pats win, then the Pats get the number 1 seed. So Denver has full motivation to play. The only issue is the timing. No, they're both at 425. I thought one of them was a little bit earlier, but I would trust Denver. That's just me. You don't like Denver, that's fine. You want to trust the Pats, I think that is also fine. They have the same motivation to play and win.
I just think the Chargers are pretty good. That would be my concern.
Yeah.
You know, against Denver.
Well, I guarantee you they're looking to get May locked up for the MVP award, too. So I guarantee you, even if that game is a blowout, they got Boute's coming back now, and they're going to want to talk about anything other than the fact that 2 of their guys are under indictment. I'm thinking they're going to want to go out and put a beat down here on the Miami Dolphins for sure at home. Tom, always a pleasure, my man. We'll see you, of course, again here as we get ready for Week 18 of the NFL slate. We'll have more for you as In-Game Live Game Day continues on the grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October, unless they get a really good veteran quarterback. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp, and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got a Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
So this is a little disturbing. Didn't expect to see this, but I'm flipping through the channels here, Scotty. And apparently I just came across something called PFC, which, unbeknownst to me, stands for the Pillow Fighting Championships. I'm watching two grown men beat the snot out of one another with two pillows right now in the middle of a ring. And I'm trying to figure out how we can find odds on how to bet this. The PFC is an actual league, apparently. Are you aware of this?
I am not. I just turned it on. I was half expecting, a couple of half naked women in a puddle of mud. I've seen that before, but I've not seen this.
Yeah.
These are actually two guys in a boxing ring.
Yep.
And they have a pillow in one hand and they're just whacking each other. Just like
we got to find odds on this. Some book has got to have odds on this
PFC,
somewhere. We have to figure out how to do it. PFC, goodness. The Pillow Fighting Championships. How do we get involved in this?
By a pillow, how?
I mean, they are doing flying. It's like it really is worth tuning in if you have not seen this. Just look it up. PFC Pillow Fight Championships. But we have to find where we can place a bet on this, though, Scott. My goodness.
We got
unreal.
Polymarket or Kalshi, maybe.
Absolutely correct.
Find that.
Kalshi's got to have it. Gotta have it. Yes. There's got to be a market in the predictive markets for PFC. I just the ring announcer is not, what we're used to there with and now this guy's jacket doesn't even fit. He looks like he's wearing 7 pillows. You can't make this up. This might be the funniest thing I've seen. And people have paid admission to actually watch this. This might be the funniest thing I've seen in a very long time. Coming up, though. Oh, no. What now?
Typical boxing, the guy who thought he won, hands down, lost. So the guy that thought he lost ended up winning. It's just like boxing. It's just like
I can't. Now they got a kid that doesn't look more than 16? He's 17. I can't. We got 17-year-olds in the ring now fighting 30-year-olds with a pillow. This could be the greatest league ever created ever in mankind here. But we'll keep you posted as soon as we can find some odds for it. Absolutely hilarious. We are getting ready for Ole Miss in Georgia. And by the way, still 6 right now across the market, 53.5, but we are starting to see more over money come back in now. I'm seeing 54 is starting to populate there as well, Scott. And that's kind of what we thought. Because listen, I still think we could get some points in this one here. And I am not quite sure. The guy who took over was the defensive coordinator, right, at Ole Miss for Lane Kiffin.
Right.
You would think it's still all his things. They had a 9-point lead heading into the fourth quarter of that game against Georgia and ended up losing. You got to think that he, too, is going to make some adjustments here, right? At some point along the it's not like an interim guy that never coached he know who better than him to be able to make the defensive adjustments against Georgia.
Yeah. And then they got 3 or 4 coaches that were told to get lost that were now given permission to come back. So now, and now the Ole Miss, the whole thing is so weird. They're worried about these coaches recruiting the Ole Miss players to come follow them back to LSU.
Yes.
So that whole situation, Joe, is just weird. It's just but they need coaches. Where are you going to find, 7 or 8 coaches that Lane's taken with him? So they allowed that to occur. But you're right. You would think the guy would have a little something up his sleeve to say, okay, we faced them before. We gave up 43 points. We got to do a little bit better job. Because they actually are an under team. They actually play halfway decent defense. They're 7-3 under their last 10 games. So, and last year it was 28-10 in the Ole Miss win. So he's had some success stopping Georgia.
27.5 at FanDuel there for the first half total. Are we getting 4 touchdowns, Scott, in that first half? Or is it more of a feeling out process, you think?
Yeah, I tell you, it's been a feeling out process so far. We gave you the numbers before. 21-8 under first halves, last 29 bowl games. That's well over 2-1. So, including the 2 today. I can't bet it over, let's put it that way, at first half. Second half of the game, I'll do that. but not first half with that, not with those numbers.
I agree. I think it's I think the second half might be nobody's a better in-game adjuster than Kirby Smart and his staff, right? Nobody does better. And let's face it, Ole Miss was winning that game for 3 quarters, easily winning that game the first go around here. So we're going to see here. I think maybe a first half under, full game over might not be a bad look here at 27.5. By the way, Georgia, 3.5 point first half favorite. Scott, do you like them to have the lead, or is there any value in backing Ole Miss early in this one?
Yeah, I think I would go with Georgia on that one. I mean, I like them, so it's hard for me to bet against the team I think is ultimately going to win. But they've been lousy starters. I will say that.
Right.
That Georgia team, you know, they seemingly trail every single game. It's amazing. Like even this year, they trail like an 8 or 9. I was reading 8 or 9 of their games. So, but I think they're coming to play today. I think they got the chip on their shoulder, not Ole Miss. Ole Miss had it last game, and I would take a crack on Georgia with that one.
It has been wild so far in the – we've already gotten a shutout. We've gotten Alabama getting blown out and only scoring 3 points against Indiana. We have a 10 seed that wins outright against the defending champion Ohio State Buckeyes last night. Miami, anything is possible. Number 6, Ole Miss, taking on number 3, Georgia. We'll have you, of course, covered more in-game live game day is coming up here at the top of the hour. We'll pass the baton off, and we'll have you covered all night with this. But when we get back, we do have some best bets coming up here, whether it's tonight or tomorrow. We'll lay those out for you as in-game live game day continues on the grid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales at Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this hit maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
I got to tell you, I have found my new favorite sport, and it's called the Pillow Fight Championships. Outstanding stuff. Who knew? We have all trained in our lives to become pillow fight champions here, Scotty Wetzel. Unbelievable. We got, we We do have college football. One more playoff game coming up top of the hour. We've got you covered much more. In-game live game day is straight ahead, though. But Scotty and I, we got a few games coming up this weekend that we like, some best bets. I think we're both on the same page here regarding points coming tonight in this one. But we also have some games, still some bowl games coming up tomorrow as well, Scott. And I know the military academies in bowl games, their record is absurd. And Navy is laying 7.5 against Cincinnati, who Sorsby, their starting quarterback, is transferred. He's opted out. Most all the guys have opted out for Cincinnati. And this just feels like nobody's opting out for Navy because nobody's hitting the transfer portal in Navy. So it feels like if it ain't broke, Scotty, I'm all over Navy. I'll lay the 7.5 because I think they're going to run away against Cincinnati in what is the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm going to probably do the same thing. I did it with Army, and I might do this as well.
Yes.
Although the number's a little high, I went with over team total with Army. Now, they ended up covering, and they blew out. I forget who they played, but they won like 40-10, whatever it was.
Connecticut,
same thing,
UConn.
Connecticut, right, UConn. And it's a similar spot. UConn, with Mora Jr. leaving, all the players all opted out, and they had a bunch of backups playing. And the starters can't stop this Navy-type Army offense, right? Let alone the backups. And that's what you got to get out of Cincinnati.
Correct.
So maybe team total, don't worry about the backdoor cover or whatever, over 31.5. But I do ultimately think, Navy will win the game and cover the spread. Because you're right, they don't have anybody opted out. And the greatest thing about these offenses, Joe, is they can't take the foot off the pedal because they don't throw the ball.
Nope.
So when they're up 2 scores,
Correct.
3 scores, whatever it is, they just continue to run their offense because that's what they do. They run the ball. So that's how you can get the team total over. So I like that a lot. It's a big number, 7.5, but Cincinnati had a good little run there. And in the last month of the season, things fell apart.
Yep. I got also, I think your Celtics tonight laying double digits on the road against Sacramento, who is just awful.
Wow.
Feels like Boston is they're going to hit a few threes in this game, I think, and run away with it. And Dallas and Philadelphia, I believe Embiid and Anthony Davis, believe it or not, Scott, are playing in this game. My question to you is, how many minutes do we get into this game before one, if not both, get hurt? What are we thinking? What's the over-under?
I'm guessing about 7.5 or so, right? They're going to be like, oh, no, I'm too tired. It's New Year's Day. Forget about it. I was drinking last night. Yeah. How about that? Embiid and AD. Crazy. So
wow.
I like the over in the Celtic game. I don't want to lay 10. They should beat Sacramento. Is just awful. A guy that's just brutal. But I won't take the 10. That's a big number to lay on the road. But I'll go over 229.5. I think it'll be, a high-scoring game, as all NBA games really are. So I'll give it the over on that one. By the way, our next team total's in a little trouble. 71 points, but they just started the fourth quarter, so we need a little hope there with that. But it's a blowout. They are losing, so hopefully we can put 30 on the board and the game goes over. With that one.
You would think when you're being blown out by 30 points, you might just let's not run half-court sets. Let's just chuck up some threes and let's see if we can make some shots here. But and they just did. So hopefully we'll be able to see if they can get a couple of threes going here in the latter half of this. And by the way, Utah and the Clippers, I'm not sure the Clippers, I mean, they've been good and all, but should they really be laying 14.5 late night against Utah, who I don't know. This feels like,
Utah can score.
Yes, they
Clippers
can.
Are playing well. Clippers are playing well.
Yeah,
they're playing their best ball. The Clippers are, but I'm not going to lay 14.5. I'll take a shot at the Clippers, and I like the Dallas Stars in hockey tonight. They're coming off a 4-1 loss.
Yep.
Yeah, they lost last night to Red Hot Buffalo, who won their 10th in a row. Crazy. So 4-1. They're in Chicago. I don't think they're going to lose back-to-back games. So give me the Stars. You put them in regulation. Don't lay the $1.80. You get them down to like minus 115, 120 to win in regulation. So
love that. Yep. Don't go anywhere though. Scotty and I, of course, will see you again over the weekend.
We got masks on. We got masks on. The pillow fighting. How about that?
I am. Yes, I love it. Enjoy a more in-game live game day is coming your way next here on the Grid.